Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today, we're tackling a super handy concept in Python. It really takes your new looping skills to the next level. So if you've just started using loops for repetitive stuff, get ready. We're going to see how you can use them to control not just one thing, but like whole groups of things.
Yeah, which is especially cool if you're doing any visual programming.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You've probably learned how to make a loop run, say, 10 times using range.
Right. But now we're going to show you how to make those loops work with collections, like actual groups of shapes you've put together on your screen.
And that's pretty much the mission for today. Understanding how to use for loops with something called group.children.
Exactly.
If you're making visuals in Python, maybe drawing stars or tiles or whatever, and you group them, group.children is the key. It lets you manage them all really efficiently using these loops.
Think of it like this. Say you drew 6 arcs, curved lines, and you put them all into a Python group. Instead of writing code 6 times to change their color, you use one loop. And that loop automatically goes through group.children and applies the change to every single arc in there.
That's the power we're talking about.
Right.
Saves a ton of work.
Definitely.
Okay, let's dive into our first example to really nail this down. Let's say you've made a group called arcs group, and inside are several arc shapes.
Right.
Now, instead of telling each arc individually what to do, you use a for loop. It looks something like this for arc in arcsgroup.children.
And what's really neat here is Python sees that arcsgroup.children part as basically a list of all the shapes inside arcsgroup.
Oh, okay.
So the for loop is smart. It just goes through that list item by item, and for each item it pulls out, it temporarily gives it the name you chose, arc in this case.
Precisely. So whatever code you put inside that loop, indented under the for line, it gets run once for every single arc in your arcs group.
Yeah.
So our example shows drawing a little line, maybe from a horizontal bar up to the top of each arc, and it uses arc.centerx and arc.top to figure out where to draw that line.
And the cool part is those values, arc.centerx and arc.top, they'll be different for each arc the loop processes, because each arc is likely in a slightly different position.
Right. The loop handles finding those specific coordinates for each one automatically.
It's just a super efficient way to apply the same kind of action, draw a line, change a color, whatever, to lots of objects without copy and pasting code.
Definitely makes the code cleaner, less typing.
Yeah, huge help when you're starting out.
Now, a really good question came up, especially for folks new to loops. What if you called that variable something else? Instead of for arc in arcsgroup.children, what if you wrote like for in arcsgroup.children? Would that mess things up?
The smart question.
Yeah.
And no, it wouldn't change how the code runs at all. The name you pick for that looping variable arc, current shape, whatever, it's just a temporary label. Python doesn't care what it's called, as long as it's a valid variable name.
So it's more for the human reading the code.
Exactly. It's for you to make your code understandable. Yeah. The computer knows it just needs to process each item in arcsgroup.children.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay, so looping through a group lets us draw things related to each item. But what about making them interactive, like responding to mouse clicks?
Yeah, that opens up a whole new level. You can absolutely use these loops inside functions that react to events, like on mouse press.
The function that runs when you click.
That's the one. So imagine you still have your arcs group. Now, maybe you want each arc to fade out a bit if you click directly on it.
Okay, how would that work?
Well, our second example shows this. Inside that onMousePress function, you put your loop again for arc in arcsgroup.children. And inside that loop, you add a check. You use something like arc.hits, mouse X, mouse Y. That hits method basically asks, was the mouse click at coordinates mouse X, mouse Y located on top of you? Arc.
Oh, cool. So it checks each arc in the group.
Every single one, really fast whenever you click. If the hits method returns true for a particular arc.
Meaning you clicked that arc.
Exactly. Then the code inside that if the statement runs just for that specific arc. In the example, it changes its opacity, making it a bit transparent.
Wow. So one loop handles click detection for the whole group. You don't need separate checks for every single arc.
Nope. Way more efficient, especially if you have lots of objects.
That is pretty cool. It makes things much more manageable if you want lots of interactive bits.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've done initial drawing, we've done interaction. Let's talk animation. How do we use loops in groups to, bring things to life?
Ooh, this sounds fun.
Yeah.
How do we make things move or change over time with this?
That's where another special function comes in. OnStep.
OnStep. Okay, how's that different from onMousePress?
OnMousePress runs once per click, but OnStep It runs over and over and over again, automatically, many times every second, just constantly while your program is active.
Ah, like frames in a movie.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Cool.
perfect for animation because you can make tiny changes in each step, and they add up visually over time.
Okay, makes sense. So how does the loop fit in?
Well, our third example shows this. Imagine every time you click, instead of changing an arc, you add a new circle to a group called all circles.
Got it. So you click, a circle appears and gets added to the group.
Right. Now, inside the onStep function, you put your loop for circle in all circles.children.
Looping through all the circles currently in the group.
Exactly. And inside that loop, for every single circle, you do something small, like circle.radius plus equals 1. You increase its radius by just 1 pixel.
Okay. And since onStep keeps running,
that radius increase happens again and again for every circle in the group. So visually what you see is all the circles you've created slowly growing bigger.
simultaneously. That's neat. All thanks to that one loop inside onStep.
Yep. It applies a growth logic to every circle, every step.
Cool. And there was another good checkpoint question here, too. What if inside that onStep loop, you changed circle.radius plus equals 1 to circle.radius plus equals 10? What would happen then?
Great question. It highlights how the numbers inside the loop affect the outcome. If you change plus equals 1 to plus equals 10.
The radius increases by 10 pixels each step instead of 1?
Precisely. So each circle will just grow much, much faster. The animation speed changes dramatically. The loop's job is the same, update every circle, but the amount of change per step is bigger.
That makes total sense. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've seen that for loops, especially with group.children, are incredibly useful in Python.
Yeah, particularly for visual stuff. They let you handle whole collections of shapes really easily.
You can draw things based on each item. You can make them react to clicks or other events.
And you can animate them all together using onStep. It's super versatile.
So whether you're drawing, a field of flowers or making buttons light up or animating a crowd.
Understanding for item in group.children is going to be a real game changer. It makes your code way more efficient and lets you create much more complex and interesting things.
Definitely. It really scales things up.
Which leads to a kind of interesting thought to leave folks with. What else could you do by combining these loops with different shape properties inside a group?
Ooh, good question. Like beyond just position or size or opacity.
Yeah. Think about changing colors in sequence, or maybe making shapes rotate together or move in like coordinated patterns, or even reacting to each other somehow.
That opens up a lot of possibilities.
It really does. So we definitely encourage everyone listening to, experiment, try combining loops and group.children with different properties, and see what kinds of visual effects or behaviors you can create. Play around with it.